Hi, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Health of It podcast. We have a great show today. We have Brianna Taylor-Kelly, who's the artistic director of Palmetto Ballet Theatre, and Antonia Díaz, who is one of the dancers at Palmetto Ballet Theatre and one of the instructors as well. We get into all things dance. We talk about the Colombia dance scene, Dancing with the Stars Colombia, what it takes to start their own ballet theater, and much, much more. So thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Warren and Dillon, the Midland's trusted personal injury lawyers. Here's some great advice from our sponsor.
Hey there, Brett Warren with Warren and Dillon. I wanted to talk to you today about some of the biggest mistakes you can make when it comes to dealing with insurance companies. I think one of them is giving a recorded statement to the insurance company. The problem is that the insurance companies, they're doing these recorded statements to help their case and to hurt yours. And so they're going to ask some sneaky questions that are designed to hurt your case. One quick example, they'll ask how many feet away you were from the other car when you first noticed them. Nobody really knows the answer to that. But what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, you should have noticed that other car, and now you're 20% at fault. So do yourself a favor, just don't do it or talk to a lawyer first. Trusted advice, proven results, Warren and Dillon.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Columbia's hottest podcast, Here for the Health of It. I'm Dr. Randy. I'm here with Dr. Tom, as always, and we have two great guests today, ballet dancers from the Palmetto Ballet Theatre. We have Brianna Taylor-Kelly. You like going by your middle name too, right?
Well, I just got married, so...
That was her old last name.
Yeah, most people know me as Brianna Taylor, so I have to throw in there Brianna Taylor-Kelly so people can start to get used to that.
You didn't go hyphen, though. You're just pretending like it's your middle name?
Yep.
It's complicated.
Like the whole dance world.
And you're the artistic director of the Palmetto Ballet Theatre. And then we also have Antonia Díaz.
That's right. You're one of the first to pronounce my name exactly right.
Wow.
So.
And that's not usual
rare.
for me. And you are a dancer at the Palmetto Ballet Theatre.
That's right.
And you guys, sounds like you guys know each other as dance buddies, as you would say it, colleagues.
In the dance industry.
So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
This is great. So I think the dance scene, a lot of people don't really know a lot about it. They go and see professional dancers, but they don't really know what all goes into it, other than it's one of the most intense sports I think you can be in. I have a friend who has two daughters that are dancing, and they're dancing hours and hours a day. Yeah. And he said it's the most intense thing.
It is.
So tell us about this. Tell us how you guys got into dance and how this whole thing got started.
Do you want to start, and then I can kind of just piggyback off of you?
Sure. I do have some less years in South Carolina. I'm originally from Colombia, South America.
Oh, nice.
Oh, from Colombia, South America to Colombia, South Carolina.
I get that a lot.
That's great. Stay right in the microphone too, or
sorry.
people. Yep.
But yeah, so I moved from Colombia to dance in the United States and get trained. And actually, I found my first professional job here in Columbia, South Carolina. And that's where I met Brianna. I got hired when I was 17. And yeah, I've just been around for 5 years. I thought I was going to move pretty quickly after that. And then I fell in love with Colombia, and I've just stayed.
So 17 years old, you moved from Colombia to Colombia.
Actually, I said that wrong. I moved to the U.S. when I was 17. I moved to South Carolina when I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Brianna, tell us your story.
Well, I'm born and raised in Colombia. So I started my training when I was 3. I started over at Columbia Ballet School. And then as I got older, this man named Radenko Pavlovich, he saw me dancing around Colombia, and if you know Radenko, he's very blunt. He gets what he wants. And he was like, I want that girl. And so he kind of recruited me, and I started training with him, and I started dancing in the professional company when I was 14. And then I was promoted to soloist, which is, there's a food chain for ballet. There's the second company and the first company. And so the second company, you have your trainees and your apprentices. And then first company, you have your core, your soloists, and then your principals. So 16, I was promoted to soloist. And then 3 years ago, there was a change within Columbia Classical Ballet. Rudenko left, and Brooklyn Matt came in, and that's when he promoted me to principal dancer. And I danced with them up until this season, and now I'm creating my own professional company.
Rudenko.
Rudenko.
So he just walks around saying, "I want that person," and gets them.
Oh, there was this competition that he found out that I was going to, and he took all of his students there to compete just to come and see me. And then he pulled my mom aside, and he was like, you got to get your daughter over here, all this stuff. So yeah, he kind of pulled me in and recruited me, and he taught me everything I know about ballet, about teaching, and he was considered one of the best teachers in the U.S. So
Really? New Jersey guy?
No.
New Yorker? Is he a local guy?
No.
I think he's from Georgia. I mean, he was born
Yeah.
when it was Yugoslavia, so that tells you.
That does
Yes.
tell me a lot. Yep.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Columbia Family Chiropractic, with 3 easy-to-get-to locations, one in Forest Acres, which is by Trader Joe's, one in O'Neill Court by the DMV, and one in the Northeast by Sand Hills. You'll be sure to have somewhere near you. They offer a ton of services from corrective care, on-site digital x-rays, spinal decompression for bulging or herniated discs, dry needling for injuries, pediatric care, and a Class 4 laser. They accept all your major insurances. And if you mention this ad, you'll get a discount on your first appointment. Check out their website at cfc4health.com or Google Columbia Family Chiropractic. That's cfc4health.com.
Yeah, he was there, and he trained with the Vaganova Ballet Academy, which is a super large ballet entity. And then he moved here, and he danced with American Ballet Theatre, or was it?
He definitely guessed with American Ballet Theatre,
But he was with Atlanta Ballet.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That was his main.
Yeah, so he danced a lot around the U.S., and then he found his way into Columbia, and that's when he created the school and the company.
I don't trust any men around my daughters.
It's understandable. I mean, I can see that.
Is it weird? Is there a weird component of male dance instructors with 5, 6, 7-year-olds?
I think it
Maybe that went
depends.
dark quickly, but I was picturing this Yugoslavian guy with my daughters and being like, I would be standing there every single moment that they were together. And I'm sure he's a great guy, but just any guys in general, I wouldn't trust.
And that makes sense. I feel like some people were like that, and then some people were like, it's difficult with the ballet world, because the ballet world, how we grew up, it was like, I'm going to come with a ruler and hit your knee and until it is straight, and so it was very normal for us growing up having male instructors.
Just smacking you with rulers all day?
Yeah. Threatening to throw a shoe at my head if I didn't do it right. I say that with love, because he's someone that I still keep in touch with. He was like a dance dad to me. And of course, in the studio, he was very strict like that. But outside of the studio, he was very loving, very nurturing. He really took people in. So I think if you knew Rudenko, you would trust him, because he is kind of crazy in the studio. But right when you're done with your classes and stuff, he's such a kind-hearted person. So,
where's he at now? Is he still alive?
He is. He went back to his country, and so in 2021, right? It was 2021
That he left.
Yeah.
Yes.
2021, actually spring of 2021.
Yeah.
Rodenko was like, because I was teaching for his school, and I was basically running the business side of it because he was very focused on the professional company. So I kind of kept the school afloat. And
Yeah.
he'll tell you that himself. But he was like, like eventually this studio is going to be yours. And, in my head, I'm like, oh, yeah, like maybe 5-7 years from now, like 10 years from now. And then 3 months later, he's like, hey, I'm leaving. So I will gift you the school, but you need to if you want the studio, you need to buy the building. He was like, and if you don't buy it, then I'm going to like sell it to some people that want to make a restaurant.
Right.
And that was a lot of pressure for me because this ballet school has been around. Before Rodenko, it was Ann Brody. And, just some iconic people that were in the studio. So I was like, okay, so, how long do I have to make a decision? He said, you have until next week.
And how old are you at the time?
I was 22.
22.
Wow.
Wow.
So I was like, this is a huge, huge decision to make, and it will change my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still very young. And so, I talked to some of my friends about it. I talked to my parents about it. And I felt really strongly that was something that I wanted to do, even though, I had envisioned myself in the future after I was done dancing, owning a studio. I just felt so strongly about taking it over. And so I took over the studio, and it was a balancing act for a really long time, just because I was there from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Wow.
So it's just taken time to kind of get my routine together and everything.
So you were professionally dancing for some other company while running the school and teaching others to dance. Is that how that works?
Yes.
And then up until this year where you're now starting a new company, that's kind of was your MO. Run the school, teach younger girls how to dance. They would then set up contracts with local or wherever with dance companies. And then that's how shows get put on by the company. Is that how that works?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially. Do you want to speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, so basically that was right. But we also try as a school to have some school shows. Some people will tell you it's a recital. The reason we don't say that is because we try to put like professionally inclined shows with kids. So the training tries to be as professional as possible, not only so that our advanced kids can go wherever they want professionally, but also so that we have a high quality show, like high put show.
Yeah. Okay. And are there, how many different shows are there in the ballet space? Like there are just traditional, like the Nutcracker. That's the same show over and over, right? Or I mean, maybe a little bit.
Well, and a lot of companies are branching out now and doing like, I don't know, Christmas Carol and like different things for sure. But Nutcracker is traditionally, the one that happens every single
What are
year.
the other like big like is Black Swan? Is that a thing?
Swan Lake.
Swan Lake. And so like those are things that it just every year basically certain companies are going to do those over and over.
Yes.
Just trading out people and maybe tweaking a little bit of the. How often are there new shows coming up that are just that they could become the Nutcracker or become something massive like that? And who would create that? Would that be something like you might just create a show that becomes massive?
Yeah. I can say, and it's funny that you asked that, up until I came to Columbia Classical, I have been in companies that only did those traditional ballets. So like Swan Lake, the Nutcracker, Giselle, to throw some names out there. But here, and I can highlight Simone Cutino, she's the resident choreographer for Columbia Classical.
And Palmetto Conservatory.
Palmetto Conservatory of Dance, which is our school. She's created ballets almost every year.
Yeah.
To make them like a Swan Lake, like a 3-act, 2-act. I
Right.
have full story, drama, and I put dancers to dance, and I tell the story.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And how far different is it than a musical, let's say? And mind you, you're looking at two guys that know literally zero about this space. So the questions are going to be
Well, musicals, that's all you.
Well, yeah, okay. So,
like, are there like you're not going to spit lines, I'm guessing, in a ballet.
oh, no.
Thankfully, no.
It's just all dance and music, whereas
So, you know what's really cool about ballet? With musical theater, you know, you have singing and you have dancing and
Yes.
you have the acting side of it. But what's really beautiful about a ballet is that we don't speak, we don't sing, we tell you our story just with our bodies and our faces. And that's, you know, really what separates the musical theater side and the ballet side, because you have like your technique, right? So at what you've really worked on, you know, growing up, you have that foundation. And then you have your artistry. And your artistry is basically like acting, which the definition of acting is a reflection of life. And so for example, one of my favorites that I have done is we did Aladdin, and I played the
Oh,
role
that'd
of,
be
of
sweet.
Jasmine.
Yeah.
And I really had to, normally how I like to portray a role is I learn a lot about my character and how she feels in each situation. And then I put myself into it and relate myself to her and things that I have been through in my life that I can relate to her, so that I can tell a better story
gotcha.
to the audience, which is what's most important, is that the audience really understands what's going on. So
Was anybody the parrot?
I wish.
that would have been cool. We didn't even have an Abu.
Oh, really?
No, we just had like the Aladdin and Jafar. We had the genie.
Yep. The dad.
Yes.
The Sultan.
Yes. Wait, I don't even. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did. We
we
did. So that's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's cool.
Aside from like classical ballet, Simone choreographed that one. I think. Oh gosh, she might tell me I'm wrong, but I want to say that she choreographed that in like 2013, 2012. And what's really cool is she'll bring them back and she'll recreate them and make them look completely different. And it's a different cast. It's a different set of people. So she always says it's going to look different every time. And she loves that, it doesn't look the same every time. So it's pretty unique. And
How many types of ballet are there? Like, are there like modern ballet where you might throw in some
Yeah.
twerking or something?
oh, I don't know about twerking, Tom.
There's
Like
like where would you mix in stuff? Is there like a ballet where you do a little bit of everything?
Oh yeah. There was one ballet that we did, and it was called Ballet Rocks, and we did it to like AC/DC, like
Yeah.
all kinds of different music, and
That would be awesome.
that one was really cool.
Yeah.
That we did. That was when I was with Columbia Classical Ballet in like 2017.
So are there names for those types of like classical ballet I've heard of, and it sounds like that's just you just rip the moves, stay in the
Yeah.
classical zone.
Well, I guess that would be more neoclassical, wouldn't it?
Neoclassical, modern ballet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's modern ballet, neoclassical,
Mm-hmm.
classical. Is there any other things? And can you just go into a new category?
You can. We
Like just create your own.
Yeah, so Simone has choreographed before. It's on point. It's ballet, but it's also has a little bit of tango flavor in
Gotcha.
it. So there's all kinds of different things. I feel like you have your classicals. So I mean, Swan Lake, Giselle, La Bayadere, Le Corsaire. All of those are like your classics that have been here and that are a huge part of the ballet history.
Yeah.
But now a lot of people I don't want to say a lot of people, but some people are branching out and doing stuff like Aladdin, Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent, which is actually what our school is doing in June. And then you have your other things too that you can incorporate, really anything. really anything that you could imagine, it could probably be done.
But are there traditionalists that are just like
Yes.
that just can't stand that people are doing anything different?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like
And that-
Beyonce going into country music.
right.
People are furious.
Yes,
Yes.
but then there's people that love it.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think ballet's a tough crowd to get into. You know what I
It
mean? Like,
is.
100%.
and what makes it ballet? Just the shoes, like being up on the points. Is that what they're called?
Pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of technique behind it. I would say probably the shoes and the fact that we all walk like ducks.
Oh, you like have
That's
to go
how you
out.
know?
Yes. So that's called turnout. when
Why
you
is
rotate
that?
Your legs.
I never thought about that.
I feel like we have to go all the way back
Yeah.
to like the olden days and ask
Why they
about
did
herself.
that? Somebody had a hip issue in the old days, and they said everybody's got to do this.
And
That's
I guess
wild.
All the dances before were like parallel, so they went for like, why don't we rotate our legs? But the thing with ballet dancers is the reason why you can go into anything now is because it's so hard and you get so much training that really ballet dancers can dance whatever you put them to
Right.
do.
What muscles would you guys say are your strongest?
Our legs.
Legs, like any particular part, like ankles or calves or
Everything.
everything?
Everything.
I feel like our quads are pretty strong.
And our
Do you guys
hips.
do weights, like weight training? Or just
a
mostly?
lot of people do.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And it kind of depends on the dancer and what
Yeah.
they want to work on.
I feel like
personally
it's
don't.
yeah. I feel like it's more of a thing now
Yeah.
because before everyone was concerned if they did weightlifting that it would bulk you up,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to look especially in the upper body, you're supposed to look very delicate, especially with classical
Yeah.
ballet. But the ballet world I guess not the ballet world, but the dancers have evolved
Yeah.
in the sense of, it's important that we're flexible, but also that we cross train and we have the strength.
Yeah.
Just because, all the stuff that we do, it's almost impossible if you don't have any muscle tone.
Are there certain body parts that just hurt you? Like what hurts on you? I feel like just everything that you're
Yeah.
describing sounds like it would hurt.
Our feet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like toes.
know-
like,
Toes for sure.
So
toes got to be miserable.
before I met you, believe it or not, I had never been to a chiropractor
Really?
ever. And that's so strange for a dancer because dancers are always like, I need to go to the chiropractor. It scared the crap out of me. I'd see the videos of like the necks and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and it would scare me. And one of my students' dads, he is a chiropractor, and I had messed up my back, or I thought it was my back, but it was like my back going into my hip, into my leg.
Yeah.
And I could not walk. And so I went to him, and afterwards I cried because I
Tears
didn't
of
know.
joy?
But yeah, because I didn't know my body was supposed to feel that
Yeah.
way. And I say all of that to say that we get so used to our muscles just being so tight that it
Right.
feels normal for us, but it's not normal. It's not
Yeah.
how you should feel. So that's the
That's
crazy
good.
part about it. I feel like we hurt, but it's like we're kind of like, oh, it's whatever. Like there's a little nagging pain, but like we just kind of
Deal with it.
dance through it.
Yeah.
Do you want to give him a shout out? I think I know who it is.
Who is it?
Gene Garris.
Okay. Oh no, I don't know.
Oh, I know Gene.
Yeah.
He's on the board, of South Carolina board. Good guy.
Is he?
I didn't know that.
Wow. Shout out Gene.
Actually, I think now that you mention it,
Yeah.
I think that does sound right. Yeah.
Nice. Love
But his
that.
daughter dances with us, and so his wife actually saw me walking in the parking lot like a cripple, and and she was like, Brianna, like, what is wrong with you? Like, I was like, hey, like, how's it go? I can't really move. She was like, you need to go, like, right now, and just go. And I was so terrified. I was so scared, but I did it, and it felt amazing. So
Right.
It's the most amazing profession ever. I had a guy just last week tell me he thought he was going to be in pain for the rest of his life.
wow.
Got adjusted, totally gone. He kept telling me, he kept telling me over, you don't understand how good it. And I was like, you got to stop talking to me about this because it's like I'm excited, but like that's good, you know? But we just get kind of numb to it because we see it so much that it's just, yeah, this is great, but then it can completely change a person's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Is there any other special body work stuff that you guys do? Like toe stretches and stuff like that
I'll let you go into that.
like
'cause
how do
you're
your
the-
how do your toes not just like melt into each other?
Oh, well, mine do. Do you see my toes right now?
Do they just like
Look,
overlap and
They're-
Pretty shoot.
So,
pretty toes, though.
so my toes. I went on point when I was 9, and all my toes used to be straight. I know y'all probably think my toes are ugly. And they are. It's okay, but they.
But you're not
guys
shy
are
about
down
it at all.
already?
So they like all mold together now. You see how they like are crooked?
Yeah.
That's how they go into my point shoe. And so as I was developing and growing,
Yeah.
they just went and the
Yeah.
bones built that way.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not gonna show my toes. I can say though that the more we like work on point, we develop like if you don't take good care, we develop a bunion really quickly.
Real quick. Oh, yeah.
So for example, I put toe spacers to just walk in real life,
Nice.
like every time, or else I'll have a nauseous amount of pain all the time,
Right.
even when I'm not dancing. But a lot of PT. It goes a long way. Like stretching a little bit, listening to your body. Brianna does Pilates. Just finding what you like to do, what feels good. Just keep stretching, because if you don't, it'll really hurt.
What's like your warm-up routines look like? Like before you guys practice or before a show, what is how much time are you planning to get the body lubed up?
I lay on the floor. No, I'm just kidding.
Just stay still.
Actually, sometimes I do.
Depending on the day.
What? What do you do
Okay,
on the floor?
Well,
Just
no,
lay there?
Okay, so let me put some context behind it. I do Pilates before I take class normally, but if we're at the theater, I will take class, and then afterwards, I will just lay on the floor and look at the ceiling and just focus on my breathing, and like I feel
Really?
like I feel my center, like I can feel. I don't know. I just take some deep breaths and I'm like, okay, I know exactly where my center is and I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
Really?
For me, I have an old Achilles injury. I tore my Achilles before I started. So I stretch my lower body for like 30 minutes every day. And I'm also not a morning person. So I try for that
Stiff.
to be my morning thing where I just don't talk to anybody. No lights are on. I'm just by myself. That's before even I see anybody in my
Yeah.
day. And I guess I'm just going to say it because I feel like you guys don't know.
Just let it out.
Yeah.
Whatever
Get it
it
outta
is,
you.
just tell us.
We take class before we perform, and that's kind of like our warm up for the day.
What does that mean? You take class before you perform?
So, have you seen those pictures of dancers like holding a bar?
Like a pole.
Yeah. Like
Yes, like a long, yeah, like a
not the
long
vertical
pole.
ones that go to the ceiling, the horizontal ones.
Yes.
Yes, I have
Maybe.
seen that. At bar class, BARRE.
Oh,
Yes. So
nice.
yes.
I know all about bar class.
And and what happens is we grab onto the bar and we do a full bar routine.
There's
Say,
about
so-
like 12 exercises that
Yes.
you do at the bar.
Gotcha.
And it's supposed the way it's built is supposed to warm up from the tip of your toes all the way up the tip of your head. So you're moving the whole time, your whole body to get your circulation going.
Yep.
Once you get that, you go to the center and pretty much everything that you did at the bar, you try without the bar and see how much can you do and how you feel.
Gotcha.
And from there you jump and then you're done. So by that time you've done 2 hours of a full body workout before you perform.
Yep. Do you have to wear the tights that you guys wear? Like, does anybody
Oh,
just
I
show up in
never wear
shorts?
tights.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I love them.
You love them? You
I
like just
hate tights.
I don't know. I like
what do you
tights
like about them?
because they help me like pull up, like I pull my tights and they're just like pantyhose.
Do they
but I
go
love
over the
it.
toes too?
She's a
They do.
ballet nerd.
Oh,
I
okay.
am.
Yep.
I'm a huge geek.
As
yeah,
for
just
me,
feel
I'd
like-
come in my baggy t-shirt and my baggy shorts and
Yeah.
maybe some socks. Maybe you'll see me in a ballet shoe. You know, we're bipolar.
I'm the
opposites.
bun hit. I come with my hair done. But like I said, it takes me about 2 hours to wake up. So by the time you
Oh,
see me,
yeah.
I've been already awake.
Well, listen, we toured with this company called Charleston Ballet in Charleston, West Virginia. And she was my roommate. I would be asleep, and she's like, first she drinks this lemon juice, okay? She drinks a lemon juice because she's like, it's really good for my face.
It is.
And I'm like, okay. So then I'll wake up, and she's like on the floor, like on the carpet, stretching. And I'm like, like, I'm just
You're trying to center yourself over there.
I'm just going to go back to sleep. And then she's like, it's like 8:30. She's like, do you want breakfast? And I'm like, it's a little too early. And so she'll just bring me back some coffee, and I'm good to go. It's so funny, though.
But see, she's the ideal roommate because I've already been 2 hours trying to get myself to be a nice person. So by the time Brianna's up, I'm ready to go. And she didn't even know.
That is nice.
I'm a heavy sleeper, too. So, like, she can do all that stuff, and I'll sleep right through it.
Nice. Now, when you guys introduce yourself to somebody, do you say you're a dancer?
Yes, I do.
And then what's the follow-up question that they get then to ask you? Do they say, are you a stripper?
I usually get like this.
You say, you got to explain
You
it.
say ballet. You introduce yourself as a ballet dancer, though?
No, I say I'm a dancer, and most of the people go like, oh, so like you do this?
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah, to a point. I don't blame you. I can say I do that.
Well, and sometimes, like, and I'm sure you get this too, but I feel like I don't even have to say something sometimes because of the way that we walk and present ourselves. They'll be like, people will come up to me and they'll be like, are you a ballet dancer? I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're like, I could tell because of like your posture and the way you walk and all of that stuff. So, which is surprising. I mean, like, it's a good guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because if we get dancer on our intake forms, we immediately think strippers. Just like, I always wondered if dancers like to like say like ballet dancer or shag dancer or something like that. But
I guess so. I guess, I mean, maybe not all the time. And then if you have to get technical.
They say, I hear people say professional dancer a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. But that could also imply other things as well, too.
Yep.
So.
You know what I'm curious about? And I've been thinking about the Aladdin Jasmine combo. When you have to be a character, and it would be the same for an actor and actress, where the characters are together and in love, and you have to dance with them hours and hours a day, months on end, travel with them. What does that look like for relationships, jealousy, that whole
new
world?
husband.
Well,
yes. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I'd have to say that my husband has been like, before he met me, he had no idea about anything about ballet, but he has just really adapted to it very well. And it's just, he's a part of like the ballet fam now. And so my mom used to always say, it's going to take a really special person to marry me just because of my hours. And also like, he's had to watch me kiss someone on stage before too. So it's like,
wow,
those kinds of things are, I mean.
And that person was muscular, probably shirtless in the ballet space, right? Most of the men are
For
shirtless.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that the guy that I was, this was for Cinderella, actually. We did Cinderella in
Prince
October.
Charming.
So the guy is actually gay.
Oh,
so
okay.
he, Victor is.
So he didn't like it.
He was grossed out by it.
Actually, like he was actually more into it than I thought he'd be.
Really?
Like on the, well, this is like a lot of information, but like on the last show, like he was getting some tongue in there, and I was like,
Whoa.
I guess he was like, I think he was like really into
I did not see that coming at all. I am so shocked by that.
I think he was just really into the moment of it.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
He
when
couldn't
you're-
control it.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're playing a character like that, you kind of just like forget who you are for like 2 hours and you become this character. And so, I was like,
Progressed to tongue.
So that scenario is what I could picture.
Yeah.
It helps because Victor's gay, so there's no.
no, Victor's my husband.
Oh.
I was like, oh, well.
Wait, I
Exposed.
thought. Wait,
I'm just
who was the
kidding.
guy? Who was the guy that was the
His
guy
name
that
is-
was dancing with you?
His name is Evan.
Evan. Evan's the
So-
one that slipped you tongue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then
yeah.
it helps that Evan's gay.
Yeah, but you know,
But-
Evan and Victor are like really close. Like so Victor was like, he just kind of found it funny. He was like, oh my gosh, like what the heck is going on here?
You were like, hey, did you see Evan
No.
like get some tongue in there? And he was like, yeah, I did notice that.
Well, the last show, and I love Evan. He's like one of my really good friends, and he's a great partner. And he and I just work really well together. I call him my work husband. So I have my personal husband and my work husband.
Yep.
And the last show that we did, I was like standing there, and he's very tall. He's 6'4", and I was like, okay, so like, are you gonna let go of my lips? Like we gotta keep on going. So it's a little
Evan.
So what about
PG-13.
so then what about Aladdin? Because that makes perfect sense. If the
Right.
guy that is playing the other Aladdin or
So-
Prince Charming is gay, then no one's gonna get jealous.
Yeah, and typically, you know, Evan has been my partner for the last 2.5 years. I have had partners in the past that I don't want to expose people, but
They fell in love with you.
well, I mean, yes, and then also like, hey, like, what are you doing tonight? And
Yeah,
I'm like,
nice.
You know, like,
Well, are there a lot of straight men professional really?
so actually,
And they're probably asking out all the
Well, and Victor,
smart.
Victor and I were talking about this the other day actually, because I don't even know how it came up, but he was like, what is the percentage do you think of like gay ballet dancers and straight ballet dancers? And I was like, you know, I don't know. I'd say I see more straight dancers than gay dancers.
100%. It kind of depends of where you go to.
Yeah.
Because I feel like me personally, I've met more gay men dancing in the U.S.
Yeah.
But I trained.
What about Canada? Have you been up there?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
I bet the ratios.
I auditioned there, and pretty much everybody that was in that audition of like the guys were straight. And I was
Really?
like, wow, maybe it's an American
is
thing. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I always thought it was 198 to 99 to 100%.
I would have done
Oh, no.
70-30.
Well, and you know,
Maybe 50-50.
yeah, I don't know. Well, I wouldn't even say that. I'd say that it's like 60% straight. I would say.
I can see that.
Nice.
But like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, like you're a ballet dancer, but they get to like lift women. They get to like,
Oh yeah, it's a
kiss
great. It's a great
women,
gig.
like, you know, and so I don't know.
yeah.
Do they ever meet couples on, like, did people ever meet
yeah.
on set?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of married dancers.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people that are married
Yeah.
and they dance together all the time.
And we've had people date within the company
Yeah.
throughout the years that we've been in it.
Yeah, for sure. It's for me personally, like I have dated a dancer before or dancers before. And for me, it was just really difficult to do that just because you know, you're in the ballet studio and it's all about ballet. And then you go
Right.
outside of the ballet studio and it's still about ballet. And
Yeah.
I like to keep that separate. Yes, I like to be able to talk about my work, and I definitely do with my husband, but, you know, it's nice to have someone that doesn't do it, and it's not a constant
Right.
thing, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
and you, Chris, he's,
Yeah, I agree. I always knew I was too much of a ballet geek to date a dancer. It would be
Right.
just too much.
Too much.
But I also knew that I needed and wanted to date somebody that appreciated the art. And thankfully, my boyfriend, he does art. He plays an instrument.
Sweet.
And he's a nerd in other things. So I get to nerd with him in other things, different
Yeah.
than just dance. And it's good to decompress with that too. Because as soon as I'm out of the studio,
Yeah.
I'm not a geek anymore. I can do something else and let my brain decompress from the day.
Is there freestyle? Like, is there moments where it's just improv dancing?
Yeah,
Like on
not
the
within class,
in a show
but,
or
like,
something.
I would say that sometimes a choreographer will be like, hey, in this moment you can do what like you think you feel here.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that
Mostly.
there's. I mean, when you are doing like soloist or principal roles,
Yeah.
there's a lot of freedom within the part, just because most of the time the choreographer knows you and they're like, okay, I want something like this.
Yeah.
But then when you have the core, which is like the group, you know, it's very like, okay, we're doing this, this, and this. So sometimes I'd say.
Are there a number of moves, like 25, that are just the moves, or is it like, does that make sense? I'm sure there's
Yeah.
named moves like a spin and a
Lift your leg over your head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do the
Well,
splits.
you said 12. Did you say 12 for bar?
Well, that's the exercises though.
Yeah.
That's not like the actual
like,
steps. I
yeah.
feel
Like
like
when
there's
a choreographer, like, would they ever write it out? Like do a pas de marais followed by a
okay,
spin.
that was pretty close.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Almost pas de bourrée.
Okay.
That was close though.
But yeah, like, would that be how they would kind of do it, where they could remember? So when you and I were dancing, which I guess a lot of people don't know,
Yeah, I guess not.
your favorite dance partner was, go ahead and say it.
You.
Yep. I had to write down, and I just named them how whatever made sense in my mind. It was like left foot forward and then spin here, and
Right.
and that helped me because I could read and do the move, and I did I filmed it in slow motion. I had all kinds of techniques to learn, which I feel like I could.
You did a great job too. I just would like to say
Thank you. Coming cold off the streets.
it was great. It was a great dance.
And this is for people that don't know. This is Dancing for the Stars,
Yep.
Colombia,
Yep.
not Colombia, Colombia, 2024. I think it was June of
Last year.
2024.
Yep.
And
That's how
they had you guys had lessons weekly, I guess, or
I was
twice
so
a week.
I was so nervous. I was texting her way earlier than
Oh,
you
yeah.
probably should.
well,
I was like, "Hey, we got to get started,"
yeah. You
and
were
you were
very
like, "No, it's fine." And then it's like, "How often you come?" Like once a week. I was like, "Whoa, once a week? What am I gonna?" And then sometimes we'd meet, and it would be like probably like 15, 30 minutes, and I just had to go home and dissect that.
Yeah,
Like, I
a little
couldn't
bit
go
at a
past
time.
that,
I
right?
still can't even. I haven't been through it before, so I can't even
Oh.
fathom it.
Well,
was-
I think you did a great job. I think it was an adjustment the first couple of times
Yeah.
for you, because it was, it was very quick moving and we got there, but
Yep.
but then you were like, okay, yeah, I have this.
Yeah.
So, but
It was a lot. Even after that, I practiced a lot, and I still remember being on stage and forgetting one thing.
you didn't look like
What
you
you couldn't,
forgot
yeah.
anything, which is,
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about, if you look like you know what you're doing, then they're not going to know out there
Right.
in the audience. So,
Right.
even if, and that's the thing about live performance, which is what we do for a living. Sometimes something's going to go wrong, whether it's a guy lifting you and he drops you, or if you're doing a turn and you fall out of a turn. You have to learn how
Just roll with
to
it.
adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just have to, which it kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
you just kind of have to accept the fact that it's most likely not going to go the way you're going to want it to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will, and you're like, oh my gosh, like this was great.
Yeah.
But you just have to be prepared always and like really be thinking. So
Because
yeah.
somebody did get dropped and froze.
At the thing, yeah.
At
At
the
our
event.
show. Did you see the lady that got dropped?
No.
It was her partner was I think they were out of Charleston, and I think he was a Russian guy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
Oh.
she was an optometrist, I think.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I saw it though.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, there was extended periods of time where she was just standing there doing nothing because they
kinda
didn't know what to
yeah.
do.
Oh, that's devastating.
And they
That's
were
so
good
hard.
though. They did it. There was tough dance that they were trying to pull off.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think they.
Yeah, you could tell they'd practiced it and they knew, but it just
Yeah.
went sideways.
Well, and that's the thing too. That's another thing. It's the performing is so hard.
Yeah.
Because if you are like super, super nervous to the point where like you're shaking, it's going to make it really difficult for you. You have to have like that in between of like, okay, like I have just enough nerves and adrenaline that I'm good to go. And you have to kind of just
Yeah.
learn how to slow your heart rate down and
And even if you're calm, you never know. Something can happen. There's a slick spot and you just fall.
Yep.
Something that you've never done before.
Remember during Nutcracker when there was water all over the stage from the fog?
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
Oh my gosh, they were all on stage and I was the Sugar Plum Fairy, and so I had to come in and do some dancing, and it was right where I had to do all of my dancing, and I was like, I'm gonna bust my butt and it's not gonna be good. But it ended up being okay.
Yeah. You know what else people don't think about? We had a live, so we practiced to our tape recorded, what do they call it? Audio? I don't know. Whatever it was.
Sorry.
But then when you go live, when it was live and we did rehearsal, it was like, oh, they're off a beat or a slower, faster sort of thing. And in my mode, like once you hit, once I flipped the switch, music and beats didn't matter to me. I was just going from what I remembered.
Yeah.
So I couldn't think like on this beat, do this. I was just autopilot. So when we first rehearsed, it was like, oh my God, I was not.
Yeah.
We had to like have them slow it. I forget what it was.
Because it
Slow
was
it down.
live. It was a live band, or there was live singing and everything. And I think it was actually too slow. I think we had really practiced it fast. And so that was, tripping us up. We had to do it again. So.
And I'm glad you had me facing away from the audience to start, because that also, I got cotton mouth. I was dry as a bone. Like I couldn't breathe and couldn't talk.
Oh yeah.
Because I was so nervous.
Yeah, that happened. That's why I always leave a water bottle
Just a little
right by the
swig.
stage. Yeah. Just a little something, because it, that can happen. And then when you breathe, it's cold on your lungs and stuff. So
good stuff. Sure. Good times coming up in June again. People should go see that. It's a good charity event. Good fun time. So
are you dancing in that one this year?
Am.
You are.
I am. I found out who my partner was.
Oh, who is it?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
Probably not yet.
Okay, I'll tell you later.
Let's do it anyway.
Let's do it anyway.
But what I will say is that when I found out who my partner was,
you were let down after me.
Yes.
Yeah. Not what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
Actually, and I don't even know if they know this, but the guy that I'm dancing with, he taught me how to partner.
Like he's a
ballet partnering.
Oh, so he's a dancer.
He's a dancer.
Oh, so you guys are gonna rip.
That doesn't seem fair.
Well,
yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Now I really want to know.
It's two professional dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Against an optometrist from Charleston and Tom Stetson, the chiropractor.
That's not like his specialty though now, but he did grow up doing it.
We don't even know what that means when you say he taught you how to partner.
Yeah.
Like there's a technique behind partnering. You don't just like lift the girl.
Oh, remember when you tried to have me do a move?
I know exactly which one you're talking about too.
You were like, I'm just going to keep my arms straight like this. And I was supposed to like lift her and turn her. It's like, I can't do it.
Tom wasn't using the legs enough.
Yeah. We had to change that.
That's like a nightmare. It's like, hey, just pick me up quick. And it's like,
just do a quick turn here.
And Tom's son was in there too. So.
Connor was filming.
And then you were like, hey, come here, like, let me try it with you.
Oh, yeah. Try it with Connor.
And could you get him?
I did a little bit with Connor.
So.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this off. That's what I was thinking.
It was a good thought that I had.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work.
We had to pass on that. So I guess, are there a number of moves? Like, are there a number of named moves that you guys know?
I guess that is what we were talking about before.
Partnering makes sense to me.
So
that means it means you're lifting someone else.
So you have like a press lift.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you guys
like lock out your
shoulder press?
Pictures in here?
We can. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I can show you. It's a press, and a guy just like kind of goes like.
And you have the girl. So the guy is holding the girl.
And she's laying over his head.
Yeah.
Or
right above.
Well, she's doing like, okay, it's called an arabesque. So like this leg goes behind your back.
Yeah, but they're grabbing crotch sometimes, right? Like they're.
Yeah. Well, okay.
There's actually a lift.
There is a lift where the guy has to like literally like come up here and lift from there. So,
and then walk around with it.
Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable, but.
For sure. You become used to it at some point, I guess.
The first time you do it, like it's different with every partner. The first time you do it, it's kind of like, okay, like that doesn't feel the best, but then like you get used to it. But that's just partnering stuff. Then
That's
you
just how
have
it
like
is.
your jumps, like saut de chasse and saisons.
There we go.
and,
Yep, that's
sautes and cabrioles and double tours.
so you guys know what all those are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what the school portion of that's what you're teaching them. We're going to work
Yes.
on the sautier.
Yes.
What
The
was
what?
it? What did you
The
say?
Debrata.
Saison.
Seesaw.
Yeah, there
Today
you
we're
go.
going to work on that. Okay. So and then that's how they build the foundation then, right?
Yes.
That's right.
So what is the hardest move? Like what is the pinnacle of moves?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, it depends on your abilities because some people will tell you that turning is really hard because they get dizzy or something. But there's
Like
some
multiple spins.
exactly.
Yeah.
But there's students that they just like come with the flow, that they
Right.
were just like, okay, so try to turn and they'll just do it.
Sydney.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a student that can turn
Just crushes.
yeah,
Both
yeah.
ways, like both directions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
She's pretty good at both, I'd say.
yeah,
She could probably whip out on a good day like 9 turns.
yeah,
Wow.
Just
and
being
that
able
and
to
that's
do
just in a row.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, that's with not pedaling or what do you
Well,
Right.
Like
yeah,
one-
you stay up
That's right.
The
so
whole
you,
time.
and
you
you
push,
go.
and she just turns 9 times.
Wow.
That's on a good day.
Yeah.
Her typical is like 5 or
Yeah.
6.
How old is she?
14. Did she?
14?
She just
Wow.
turned 14.
Yeah.
And
That's
she's
great.
like, she's 5'8". She's
Yeah.
tall. Like, oh my gosh.
Nice.
Yeah.
But some people like don't really jump, and they're like, no, jumping is really hard for me because they don't have like the spring on the floor. So it kind of depends, but I feel like it battles between turning and jumping for sure.
Yeah. Well, and also like I feel like petit allegro, which is like small jumps that we do, that can be difficult sometimes for people because it's just like kind of like what we did, like a lot of quick footwork. You just have to be really on your toes, haha, and prepared for it. So
Nice.
it's hard to say. I think it really just depends on the person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what age do people start at the school or could start?
2 if they're potty trained.
Nice.
Only because Antonia is the teacher of that class, and she is the only one in that class. And there's like, what, 15, 16,
18 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
kids in one class.
And you don't want to be cleaning up
18
crap and
four-year-old.
pee.
Yeah,
and-
it's
Well,
just
and leaving them alone though.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because, as much as, you're right, I'll do it for the love of art, but 18 girls by themselves more than 10 seconds.
Right. All right. And then talk us through again just the rankings. So if somebody starts at 2, they're considered second company, what? What
Well-
trainee? You said some terms like principal dancer, soloist.
Right.
Walk the average person through like how you level up. And I guess who decides that? Like who says that you're a principal?
right. Well, so you have your school, and you typically train until, well, it's hard to say because I started professionally when I was 14. But typically, you'd start at like 17 or 18. So you train with the school until then. And then you audition, and the artistic director either says, okay, like we want to try you out in the second company, or if they really like you, they're like, okay, we want to promote you immediately to first company. So your second company is trainees. Trainees are the bottom of the food chain, and trainees are really just there to like work their butts off and to learn. And then you have your apprentices, so you're working yourself up to the first company. And then you have corps de ballet, which is typically if you see a group dancing, that's your corps. And then you have soloists, and it sounds exactly like what it is. It's dancers dancing by themselves. And then you have principal dancers, which are the leads. They do solos, they do partnering, they're the star of the show.
Gotcha.
And then you even have the ranking of a prima ballerina. Prima ballerina is kind of decided by your audience. It's just one of those things. I don't know.
Like
I mean,
after the show?
no, like if you don't get called a prima unless you're a principal dancer.
It's like a black belt.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good way to put it. And there's a lot of controversy about it, I feel like, because some people are like, no, like this is how it should be. But I feel like a lot of people that have gotten prima are the ones where everyone's like, oh yeah, like this is, she's like the star, like prima ballerina. But for the other ranks that I named off, your artistic director decides.
You get to pick that.
Yes.
And that does that change? Like once you're a principal, are you always, or once you're a prima, you're always a prima?
Basically, until you retire. But for the lower ranks, typically what I think should be done, and not everyone feels this way, but you put them in a rank that you feel like they need to be in for that season.
Yeah.
And then you reevaluate and you talk with them. And you talk with them about, hey, you know, this is what I really liked, and this is what I think you need to improve on to get to this spot. Or I really like what you've done, and I'm promoting you. You know, so it's just really just having an open and honest conversation with the dancers too, so that they know, okay, this is where I need to be, or this is where I'm at, where I can get to this level.
And are there so there can be multiple principals in one show?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty typical.
Because you have like, okay, here's an example. Wizard of Oz. You have 2 female principals. You have Dorothy, and you have the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
And then in a lot of the classical ballets, there are typically 2 principals, 2 principal roles.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. I want to hit on a couple quick things here. So the audience knows you have Palmetto Conservatory of Dance. That's the school.
That's the school.
Where you teach classes and have teachers, and from age 2 all the way up to who's your oldest in the school side of it?
90.
90? No
we do
kidding.
adult classes too.
Sweet.
Wow. And this is in Forest Acres, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay. And so multiple classes a day, Monday through Saturday?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. And then now you're starting or have started Palmetto Ballet Theatre.
That's right.
Which is a 501c3 nonprofit dance company that you are contracting professional dancers to put on shows.
Yes.
And so first tell us why start another company, because there's 2 current companies or so in Colombia.
There's I think there's a few more than 2.
Okay, so a handful of companies. In your mind, why did you dream up we need another company, and why do you want this one to be different, or what made you passionate about starting this?
Well, I'll start with on a personal aspect. For me personally, I had danced with Columbia Classical for 12 years, and you know, I'm really grateful to them, and I loved my time at Columbia Classical, but I felt like it was time for me for myself, I felt like it was time for me to move forward and to take on a bigger role of more responsibility. So that was kind of personally, you know, why I did it. Another reason is that I say this all the time, I feel like I'm a broken record, but the ballet world, they always talk about how we've evolved. And I will say that some places have, for sure, but the majority hasn't. If you take, maybe an artistic director says to you, hey, I want you to look like this person. But if you saw me and Antonia standing up, she can't even touch the ground right now. So she's...
Thank you for that.
I'm sorry. But my point by saying that is you can't put us side by side and we can't look the same. There's just no way. I'm 5'7", she's 5'2", 1. I was going to give you an extra inch there.
Well, you already said that when I was touching the floor, so.
I'm sorry. So that was one of my reasons is, you know, I feel like I love that every dancer is different. I love that every dancer looks different, but I also love that every dancer can look different, but also dance as one.
Yeah.
And so that was something that was important to me. also, my goal, I can't make it happen right away. We've talked about this briefly, but my goal is for the dancers to make a good living. You know, a lot of dancers, they work their butts off. This takes up a lot of time, a lot of hard work. And some dancers, they go and they dance from 10 until 3, sometimes 9 until 3. And then they have to go and work a second job, like, you know, a bartender or, you know, working at a grocery store or, you know, things like that. So that is one of my goals as well, is for the dancers to feel comfortable. And if they want to have other jobs, then that's great too. But I want them to do it because they want to do it, not because they feel like they can't afford life.
Right.
And that's something that has really bothered me in the ballet world, just because we work so hard like dogs. We give not only our brains, but our bodies to our choreographer, our artistic director, all of these things. So it is important to me that they have a substantial salary. I also, there's just a lot of different reasons. I also, community outreach is really important to me. I've been here my whole life pretty much. I've gone places here and there, but, you know, I've lived here. And so Columbia has given me a lot. And so community outreach is something that is really important to me as well. And then also just breaking out from what we've been talking about, just that classical, you know, doing other things, branching out, because my goal is that each dancer can be the artist that they want to become, and not have it chosen for them. So
nice. Maybe Randy and I choreograph something.
That would be great.
It'd be cool, like a little guest feature presentation.
Absolutely.
We've got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
We can bring some of the equipment and maybe like do some flips off of it or something.
Well, and as you were talking about looking a certain way too, that's one thing that I hear is the pressure to look a certain way or be a certain weight or be thin or not be too bulky. It seems really stressful to me to have to look a certain way subjectively for somebody else who wants to tell you how to look, how much to eat, what you have to do with your hair and your look and your, I don't know. What does that look like?
And, you know, I will say that, you know, there is, for ballet, there's an aesthetically pleasing, appealing look that you should have. But I don't feel like that looks the same for every dancer.
Right.
You know, it's important to be healthy and I eat a lot. I mean, I eat healthy, but I eat a lot. I mean, I do. I just like, my husband brought me Chick-fil-A and I just like shoved a 12-pack chicken nuggets down my, before I came here. But health is important. Health is really important to me, as I know it is to you guys as well. So it's important that, you know, you're getting all the nutrients and all of that stuff and staying in the proper shape. That doesn't mean that Antonia has to look like me. You know, they
just have to be able to do the moves. Yeah, part of it's like you got to be able to do the moves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, you know, you have to be, which is why I'm so glad that the cross training has been a thing for a while, just because you have to have extremely strong legs, extremely strong ankles to be standing up on point like that for hours, or you're going to get hurt really badly. I mean, I always tell my students, I'm not going to throw you on point because you could break your ankles. And I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to scare you. You can literally break your ankles if your ankles are not strong enough.
Right.
So I guess in a long way of saying that is, yes, it's important. Their fitness and their health is important, but that might not look the same for each individual dancer.
Right.
What does it look like for some people who maybe struggle with that? Because even in the martial arts world, there's weight classes. You have to make weight. So there's this extreme dieting side of it. I know in the
Yeah.
cheerleading world, you for sure have to look a certain way and makeup and hair and all that stuff. But I don't really know how it subjectively works,
Yeah.
where your instructor is telling you your thighs are too thin or too
Beefy.
beefy, or your arms are
Yeah.
too muscular, or you gotta slim down those shoulders or
Oh
whatever.
my gosh.
I don't know what the word would be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's hard to speak on because that is more of it depends on the person, because one person may struggle with that a little bit more than another person would.
Yeah.
But sometimes you would see, and I guess I know more martial arts than I know dance.
Yeah,
But you'll see someone who looks a certain way and does a certain thing, and you're like, oh, they're in that martial arts school.
yeah.
Or they'll work at an aesthetics studio, and you see the look, and you're like, oh, I know exactly which aesthetic studio they work for.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining in the dance world, you would have a certain look and
It is,
size and
yeah.
whatever.
It
and
is, and I'm trying to break that a little bit, just because when I say size as well, that doesn't always necessarily mean your weight. I mean, there are a lot of companies that won't take you if you're under 5'5" or if you're above 5'6". So it has to do not only with your body structure, but how tall you are, what your hair color is, what your eye color is. Everyone has a look that they're
Right.
looking for. But I really love diversity. I love that people have their different looks. I think it's very unique and very beautiful. And it's even more beautiful when they can come together and do the same exact movements in the same way, but in their style. So I don't know. I feel like that's difficult to speak on.
I guess, and now that I hear you talk about martial arts, that aligns with another concept in ballet, or in dance, I should say, and it's techniques. There's different schools of technique.
Oh, yeah,
So it's
that's
kind
true.
of like, and I'm going to use a reference that my teacher used to say, it's kind of like writing. So you have people that write cursive better than they write, I don't know, script.
Yeah.
And so you'll see people that look a certain way, or like their feet point a certain way because they were trained by so and so. So what's fabulous, and I guess I'm just going to go into what Brianna does for the company and especially for the school, is even when you're trained in a specific technique, because you have to choose one to get your foundation ready, that doesn't mean that there's an only path. So as an instructor, you need to know also what exercises work if you want a foot to look like this, but unfortunately you were built like this. So we need to train the muscles for you to look how it's supposed to be in the book without telling you that you look wrong, because that's wrong.
Yeah.
You just have to sneak it in there. Hey, it would look a little better if this muscle in your ankle was stronger.
My thing though, and that is my own, I use that example a lot because feet are a big thing in ballet.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
and they finish your line just like your hands finish your line. But it's, I don't know, for me it's harder to think what my feet are doing than my hands, I guess, because I can see them.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Do you want bigger feet in ballet or
That's
smaller?
what I was wondering. Big
So
feet
it's-
seems good.
Well, so it's actually not necessarily about the size of your foot. It's actually about the
Width.
Width.
Well, and the arch as well. If you're more flat-footed, or if you have more of an arch,
Is more of an arch is better?
it is.
Really?
It is. So,
I was
will
thinking
say,
about that
though,
this
and
morning.
is
I got to
funny,
work on my arch. I was just thinking about that.
Speaking of length though, I like having bigger feet for my size because I look taller on point.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
So if you're kind of like on the shorter side and you have long feet, that will give you an extra inch.
yeah,
when
like
you're on point.
long, narrow, have
Yeah.
an arch, and then
Yeah.
some people that don't have as much of an arch, there are ways that you can make your foot look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Because everyone's different. We have one student, and she's incredible, but she's got really, really flat feet. And then we've got another one that's incredible, and her feet are insane, Vivi and Sydney.
Yeah.
and they're both beautiful dancers, but they're
Just different.
it's different because Sydney actually, her foot is actually more stable because she has more room. So when she turns or if she does anything on one leg, it's actually easier for her, even though the look of it is not exactly the right proper look. But then you have Vivi, and she struggles because her arch is insane. I mean, like, she's like over like this, and there's not a lot of stability from that.
Right.
So, you know, there's positives and negatives about each.
Who's the GOAT? Like, who's the Michael Jordan of ballerinas?
Natalia Osipova.
She's still doing it too.
Oh, yeah.
Crushing.
She's crazy. I'll have to show you guys a video of her.
Where does she? What's her company? Is she in?
Oh, she's danced all over. I mean, she's been in Russia. She's been in Paris Opera. She's been,
I think
everywhere.
she's based in Royal Ballet now
Royal
in
Ballet,
London.
yeah.
Really?
But she's danced everywhere you can point to.
Everywhere.
What's
Yeah.
the mecca? Is New York City the mecca of like cities for ballet, or different countries? What's
I mean, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. For me, it's the Bolshoi Ballet, which is in Moscow, Russia.
oh wow.
Depends on the technique, what I was just talking about, because for sure, if you're trained in the technique that Brianna was trained in that we teach at the school, Russia is your mecca.
Bolshoi or Mariinsky, yeah.
But South America, for example, our mecca is Cuba.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Cubans created their
Yeah,
own
buddy.
technique, and they basically brought everything from Europe for sure. But that is
You didn't even know
mecca.
it.
If you're Hispanic, you go to Cuba and you get your training.
So I love to travel, and I've been wanting to go to Colombia for a long time. But every time I think about it, I feel a bit nervous.
Understandable.
Like someone's going to take cocaine and shove it in my backpack.
Fair. No, for real. Thankfully, that is a thing that's a little bit in the past. Security has gotten way better. And of course, history has shown that Colombia has a dirty past for sure. But government has worked towards better security, better, I don't know what other word to use. And the country's beautiful. So I can tell you, for example, in the 80s, people could not travel to the Amazon jungle. It was just nothing that you could do. And I can tell you myself, after 2000s, they cleared up, of course, with all the help of international community and all that, so that it was a tourist area that was just crammed with so much delinquency. Not anymore. You can go to.
So would it be
now.
safe for me to go there?
Yeah.
And I could walk around during the day, no problem.
Yeah.
Almost anywhere. But then at night, I don't want to go out at night.
Not really, and more than also depends on where you're at. I'm from Bogota. I'm from the capital, so
Yeah.
at night you still see a lot of light just because it's city light.
Yeah.
But when
Isn't
there's
it Calais? That's not the best.
yeah, every city has its sides that you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to go to. What I tend to tell people when they want to visit, and this is more rather than like security, this is just unfortunately the personality of the people in the country. If you speak English and that's it, they'll just like charge you more, or they'll
Right,
use their
right.
advantage. So what I tell people is go with somebody that speaks the language or that lives there, and then you'll be fine at any time of the day, wherever you go, just because they know themselves
Right.
around.
Yep.
Right.
But-
Which
Like
and paying a little bit more to be a tourist, I feel like is just part of how it works. Because they did
Yeah.
the same thing in Italy. They do the same thing everywhere. But it's more being robbed that I don't like, or being like your kidney being stolen.
Yeah, no, thankfully that was a thing in the 80s, not anymore.
Wow.
But yeah, it's
Okay.
it's beautiful.
That's great. What kind of stuff would you do there as a tourist?
Most of it is like nature visiting. We have beautiful coasts, but then we have the Amazon jungle, and we also have beautiful mountains. We have a little bit of everything. So if you go to Colombia, you can have to pick what you want to see, or fully take 2 months off and visit the whole country, because there's a lot of fauna, a lot of flora to explore, and it's very different. But I would say mostly nature and food. Everywhere you go.
Yeah.
South American guys always seem tough to me too. Like there's some countries I go to and I'm like, no one's tough here. South America, always Brazil, crazy
Yeah.
tough. Colombia, crazy tough.
Colombians are nice though. I feel like we have a little like of a sense of humor.
Yeah, but the
like,
guys are aggressive though, aren't they?
He doesn't know that.
I feel that's how I
I think
feel.
they're nice.
I mean,
yeah, Brianna's gonna say every Colombian guy that she has met is kind of like soft.
Softies.
Oh, softies.
Yeah, it depends on where you go for sure.
Yeah,
But
remember
Cubans,
Fernando, the
though.
guy who was on our show? He's from Colombia. He's a little soft.
Yeah, so soft.
but Cubans though, those are the ones that are like,
yeah. After meeting Cubans, I haven't met a Hispanic race that is more tough.
yeah,
Right.
What about
I'd agree.
Brazilians?
Brazilians though, it's the way they talk that I'm like,
Yeah.
They seem like
Yeah.
softies.
One of our teachers
Not
is
just
from
the
Rio,
South,
actually.
Yeah.
Lorena. And her
I'm just
dad's
like-
very like goofy and
yeah. When they speak, I'm like, like I don't know how to take you serious sometimes. But yeah, so I don't know.
So you think Cuba is the toughest country
Yeah, 100%.
by far?
Well, I
Who do you
mean-
think's the toughest
I
country?
mean, if we're not,
Russia.
I was gonna say Russia. Yeah. I mean, I actually dated a Russian guy once, and he would talk about cutting people's heads off. So
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
Whoa.
Sounds right to me.
I didn't see
That's
that.
the country
my
I
Did
would.
not see that coming.
Yeah.
I think I would have chose Brazil, but you guys might be
There's
swaying
just a
me.
lot of. Have you
Yeah.
ever been to Brazil?
Brazil and Jamaica, no, but because when I was in Canada, there was people immigrating from every country, so I got every single country to be around. And if they were from Brazil or Jamaica, I felt like I don't mess with them. I don't say
Yeah.
anything. I just whatever they say, I say okay, and then I just
I
get
think
away.
the reason I don't say Brazil is because when I visited, and I don't know if it was the time of the year or something, but every street I went to, there were just people dancing all the time. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, so we just dance
They're
here.
very-
Like this is.
I feel like
so
they're
cool.
very welcoming people
Yeah.
too. Just that's the vibe I get from Brazilians.
Yeah, they are. They're very
Oh,
sweet.
have you seen those? There are these fight videos. This is more for Tom, where they have like 6-on-6 cage match,
Yes, I have.
and they
seen
have
those.
country. It'll
Yeah.
be like Russia versus
Poland.
It's
crazy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's so crazy.
It's nuts. Because the key to it is like you have to beat up your person faster than somebody else, so you can go double.
Go
team.
2-on-1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And once two guys are down, if they get 6-on-4, it's just
Done.
game over because they go 3v1, and then it.
Just getting
my
kicked
gosh.
by.
Yeah, that was kind of a left turn, but I was very interested in Colombia.
All right, so let's go back to this nonprofit. Right now, you're in the fundraising phase, right?
Yes.
So how do our listeners or businesses or people get involved? And like, what are the opportunities? I know coming up till about May 20th, I believe it is, there's like a founder's
Yes.
circle. Maybe break down how you want people to get involved.
Well, I guess it really depends on what each business is looking for. I've found that some businesses, want to be very involved, and then some, they want to help out, but they're like, we just want to help out, and we don't really want much involvement. So I guess it would really depend on, where we're getting our money from, and what we could do to help them and benefit them. There are already a few benefits. If you become a part of the Founders Circle, your name is listed with our company forever.
And that's like the startup
Yes.
right now.
Yes, absolutely.
It goes on a plaque or something, or
So it will be promoted on our website, our social medias. When we have productions, we'll have programs, and they'll have ads. We can put ads in there for them, just to promote their business. All kinds of different ways that we can promote and help them as well. But, depending on the business, maybe it's something, oh, hey, like if you want to be more involved with us, like we'd love to collaborate with you. How can we help your business? What can we do? Maybe we can put something on together, that type of thing. And some people don't want to do that, and that's okay too. But there also, with the levels of giving, you also get a certain amount of tickets each season. So I guess it just depends.
So like, say you wanted team chiropractors.
Okay.
maybe Columbia's hottest chiropractors would be like the team chiropractors for the pro dancers.
Yeah.
Would that be like a thing? That could be a thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then maybe, so how, I guess with the professional company, how many shows would there be a year? If a business is like, hey, I want to become a founder circle, or I want to donate every year to the arts, they get a tax write-off,
Yes.
which is cool. You guys can help pay your dancers and do your shows and all that good stuff.
Right.
What, how many shows could they expect to be able to go to? Where would those shows be located? That kind of stuff.
So as of this season, it'll probably look different as we continue to grow and build. But as for this season, our large shows will be October, December, and March. October, as of right now, we have about 6 shows. I'm hoping that we have a few more. There's some things still in
Same
the
show
works.
6 times, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And then same for our Nutcracker that we'll be doing in December as well. And then for March, we are only doing 1 performance. And that is because once Nutcracker ends and the new year rolls around, we do a lot of fundraising events, or we will be doing a lot of fundraising events and just all kinds of different things. So it won't be like a huge show here. You know, we'll have 1 show,
Yeah.
you know, in February and 1 show in March and maybe a couple of shows in January. So it'll look a little different in the new year, but definitely October and December will have a lot of
And there's
shows.
different tiers I saw. So you have the like founder circle, which is it's 2,500 and up.
Yes.
Gets you forever on the program and what you're
Yes.
mentioning. But then there's also if somebody's just like an individual, it's like I want to just it's called Friends of
Yes, I
dance?
wish I had the sheet, but there are different kinds of levels. So if it was something where you just wanted to give, like I want to donate $50. You know, there's different levels of that as well. 50, 150, I think there's 250 and 500 as well. We also have our Endpoint foundation or fund. And that is basically so our dancers have point shoes. Our point shoes die very quickly. So typically a dancer could go through, I don't know, maybe 3 pairs of point shoes every 2 weeks. Like it.
dang
And they're expensive too.
A point shoe is the
pointy shoes.
pointy shoe. I always thought of them as slippers.
Yeah.
No, they got this piece at the is it plastic?
Well, it
At the toe?
depends. It depends on the shoe. Some of them are made of plastic. The ones that are made of plastic they last longer. You can
Okay.
reuse them more.
Yeah.
But then there are others that once they're dead, they're dead. There's no.
No coming back.
So I mean, and typically when you're on top, there's a lot of things that can die. There's a part like right here where it can just break.
Yeah.
And then the box as well, it can get really smushy and
Right.
not as hard, and that can become very dangerous for the dancer as well when they die like that. So it's important that we as the company as well are able to fund them for their point
So
shoes
people could
as
donate
well.
to be the shoe.
Yeah, so we have different giving categories as well that just go to different
And
places.
then what's the sponsor a dancer side of things? Is that something where like we go, hey, Antonia, you're going to be our billboard?
Do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so the sponsor a dancer idea comes from sometimes dancers impact a specific member of the audience. And if you felt specially moved by one of the dancers and this person is not necessarily, doesn't have to be a principal or a soloist, but you're like, oh, I really liked how that person looked, you know?
Yeah.
You can donate specifically to them. So the money that you put in goes to this dancer's salary. I wouldn't say shoes because that's the point
Yeah,
for it,
separate.
but like costuming, makeup, all of that. And what happens there is the dancer also has a commitment of like retribution. You know, I'm grateful that you sponsor me. So I don't know. If you ever want me at a dinner and I'll talk what I do, I'll go. Also,
would they ever do like a performance for a group by themselves? Is that a thing?
it kind of depends on the sponsor,
The dancer and
what they would like for their dancer to do.
Like, say I was having a pool party.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd love a ballerina just kind of doing some things in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
That could happen.
That can
Why
happen.
not?
That'd be sweet. How long would you go for? Like, how long would a dancer dance for typically? 30
Well,
minutes?
it depends. It depends on if you have one or if you have a few.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could have them dancing as long as you want them to dance.
Really? Like a
that
30-minute solo
yeah.
performance?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like that could
100%.
totally.
That would be. He's a chiropractor that I mentored under, but he had one of the biggest practices in Canada. His name's BJ Hardick, and he had a specific dancers for his birthday where he just hopped out of his chair and they all had this choreographed dance, and it was amazing.
Wow.
I think maybe it was for
sounds
his
really cool.
50th birthday. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing something like that if I ever learned how to dance.
If you ever need a group of
But you
dancers.
want it to be a surprise, kind of,
Yeah.
right? You have to work really hard in private, and then all of a sudden, just boom,
Yes.
no one expects it.
Yep. That'd be sweet. Okay. So last thing was so May 20th is the cutoff to be a founder's circle. So people need to hear
Yes.
this, contribute. If they know anybody that loves arts, reach out to you guys, DM you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And we're having a in-studio series performance May 18th for our founders and people who are interested in becoming
Wanting to-
founders
nice.
as well. That's May 18th at 4. We're doing one at 4 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. And that's 25 Forest Lake Place.
Sweet. And they show up.
Yeah, they show up and we give them a performance to kind of see if they want to invest in this.
Yep.
And then there will be refreshments and
Sweet.
all kinds of stuff mingling afterwards. They can meet the dancers, all of that stuff. So
What do they wear? Business casual?
Can we wear hats?
yeah, I mean,
T-shirts?
Tom, you can't show up to a
love a
ballet wearing a hat.
Really?
My boyfriend would argue otherwise.
I
Full
know,
suit
and
or
I-
full
T-shirt
t-shirt.
tie. All
I
right.
get
Yeah.
so mad at him for doing that too.
Tuxedos.
Someone's
I
got to
mean,
hold the standard
okay,
somewhere,
you
right?
could do
Everyone
like-
just wants to dress like
You
a
could
slob.
do like a good. You could do like a good khaki and a like. I mean, honestly, what you guys are wearing now, like
Could work.
on the bottom, but maybe the top.
Not so
something
much
a
the
little
shoes
bit.
or the tops or the
Well,
hats.
no. I said from here down would be okay, but
Okay.
here up.
Jeans? I got jeans on.
Yeah, I know, but they're like nicer jeans.
Okay.
Like if you
Got
put
a nice
like
jean.
a button down with it. Some people do wear suits. Like my husband, he goes all out. And he'll
He's
wear a
going
suit.
full suit.
But
Victor loves
I
a
kind
good
of-
suit.
But I kind of was like, when we first started dating, I was like, you have to wear this.
Yeah.
And then it was like a custom for him to wear it ever since.
And
so.
Victor's ripped too. What's he do?
He's in the. Oh, I keep on hitting this. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
That's
Okay.
probably going to show up in the bloopers. He is in the military. He is Air Force.
Sweet.
So
he can do pull-ups and push-ups like nobody's business.
he can. He's.
Do you ever have him
pretty
just
strong.
say like, "Hey, throw up cup
Well,
20"?
actually, you know what's really funny? So, Victor, I started doing some partnering, like ballet partnering
Yep.
stuff with him. We went to the beach. Was this
God, yeah.
past? No, a week
We could go.
a week
Something
ago.
like that.
And there's this thing called a shoulder sit, and the guy basically like lifts the girl, and her butt goes on his shoulder, and you're just like sitting there. And so he lifted me up, and then he put Antonia on his other shoulder, and just kind
No
of was like,
way.
"Let's take a picture."
Yeah.
So
Just a beefcake. We'll put that in the show.
Was it quick? How long from the time that you guys met till the time that you got engaged?
okay, well, I feel like this is a story for another time, but it's a pretty
boy.
crazy story. So we met in June of 2023. We got into a relationship of July 2023. August 2023, I got really sick. I had a UTI, and it went into my kidney, and then it went into my blood, and I became septic, and I almost died.
Oh my goodness.
And so he could have just been like, oh, okay, this is getting a little too
Yep.
messy for me. but he was by my side every single day. And I made it out of the hospital. I didn't think I was going to, thank God. And it was hard afterwards too, because I was kind of having like an identity crisis. Just like, what am I doing with my life? Like all of this stuff, I just didn't feel like myself. And he was by my side. And I can't imagine how difficult that was for him as well. And so shortly after, I was like, I want to marry you. You stood by my side for me in my darkest time. So then we were engaged in December of 2023 and married January of 2025.
Nice.
So.
Wow. So almost 2 years.
How'd you
then.
meet him though?
Almost
Like
2 years.
where was the first Tinder?
We met on Bumble.
Bumble.
We met on Bumble.
Is that the one where the girl has to say something first?
Is it? I
Yeah.
don't even remember now.
I don't think you did that though.
Did he have a shirtless picture
Oh
on
yeah,
there?
holding the
No.
fish.
Okay. You know what was so? Okay. No. That he's not that type, but
But he was shirtless.
there was a gym picture in there. Like.
Yep, smart.
But there was something about him like where I was just. It sounds so weird, and I sound crazy when I say it. But when I was looking at his pictures, there was just something about him that like kept on catching my eye.
Yeah.
I was just like, there's something about you. I've only seen you in pictures, but there's something about you that really draws me to you. And he, like, the next day he was like, I want to text. Like, I don't want to talk on this app anymore. And he set up a date like 3 days later.
Yahtzee.
So,
Nice. Canceled all his other girls.
yeah. I'm sure he had a couple lined up, but
That's great. Well, this has been so fun. Thank you guys for coming
Yes.
on here. Everybody go check it out. Become a founder if you can.
If
And
not a friend.
or a friend.
Yep.
great.
Absolutely. Or if not, just come watch our
Yep.
performances.
Come watch
What are
Yeah.
give the websites and the Instagrams
Okay,
that
I'm
you'd
gonna
like.
let you do that.
Yeah.
You're our social media person.
So our website is palmettoballettheater.com. Easy. And our Instagram, same thing, Palmetto Ballet Theater.
And it's not ER at the end, it's RE on theater.
Yes. I made that
Classy.
decision myself.
Classy.
That seems French. I think that's French.
That is from
Because I used to have a clinic called Goulet Chiropractic Center, but it was RE because it was in the French area.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this has been
stuff.
great. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We're here for the health of it.
For the health of it.